Picture Perfect is the title of this lesson. Let's go to the first paragraph. This one is called Capture the Moments. To preserve memories, photographs are a popular choice among the layperson. Cameras are inexpensive and widely available. Quality has increased tremendously over the years due to technological advances and economies of scale. High-definition cameras are affordable for many people without requiring significant upfront cost. A decade ago, HD camcorders cost thousands of dollars. Today, $100 can buy a cheap HD camcorder from China. Now, the first word here is preserve. In this case, we're saying to preserve memories, photographs are popular. Some other examples of preserve are to keep alive and in existence, to stop harm or injury, or as a noun, it's fruit, it's just jam, like peanut butter and jam. You can also call it a fruit preserve. So these two are verbs and this is our noun. Now, a first example is preservation of the deer is vital for maintaining the ecosystem. That means to protect the deer or to keep them alive. Now, another example is we were able to preserve the mummy for 3,000 years. If you can preserve the mummy, it means you can stop it from being injured or harmed and can keep it in good condition. The new mango strawberry preserve is delicious on this toast. Obviously that's not the same as this. It's used as a noun for fruit jam. Preserving this tree with fresh water is rewarding for both tree and human. Isn't that the case? We should probably preserve our trees rather than mowing the land down to make ethanol, which doesn't produce any additional energy and simply destroys the forest. So definitely preserving the tree is a good idea. Second example is layperson. Popular choice among the layperson. You can also say layman or laywoman. There it is. Layperson is a person without a specialized profession or just simply a common person. So our first example is the story. The story is so simple, even the layman can understand. So even a person who's a normal person, not some kind of expert or highly educated person. They're just a regular person. Lay women are very excited about the new singing competition on TV. Now, usually you don't say lay women or lay men or lay person. You just say people. But whenever you see this word, it just means the common person. The alphabet is easy to understand for the lay person. That's just a silly little caption I made for this ridiculous picture, but anyway. The third example is technological advances. Technological advances means improving technologies or improving quality or efficiency. So the technological advances at our factory are increasing profit. So if we have new machines and new factories or new software or anything that's newer than before, we might be able to increase profit, is what I'm saying here. The Klingons are technologically advanced for such animals. Well, isn't that the truth? If you ever watch Star Trek, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't watch Star Trek, well, maybe you should. Haha, okay. Technological advancements have made cell phones better. Well, I suppose. I don't use cell phones. I don't really use phones at all. I just use Skype, but apparently people love their phones because they keep spending all their money on phones. Advancements in technology have allowed global markets to open up. That's true because we have better shipping, better internet. I mean, you can just go on Alibaba.com and you can find suppliers for anything at basically the lowest cost possible. So certainly the internet has made doing business very easy, at least on the purchasing side. Marketing is easier, although it's higher competition. And advances is the same thing as advancements, right? So economies of scale is the next example that we learn this word in business school, and it really is important for anyone in a business environment to understand. Economies of scale means the more you make, the cheaper they get. In other words, higher volume equals lower cost per unit. So, for example, here you have steel. The more you put through this factory, the more you make, every one becomes cheaper because the overhead cost is divided by more units. So for example, economies of scale have allowed LCD TVs to become cheaper, and they certainly have become a lot cheaper. Our profit is up while our prices are down due to economy of scale. You could say economies of scale or economy of scale. Same thing. The economies of scale in the casting business have resulted in lower per unit pricing, and that's what we say, per unit pricing. If we're talking about the price for one. So these castings might be $5 per unit, $5 for one. And in this example, I said technological advances and economies of scale has improved quality. The next one is upfront cost. So we check out this slide. Upfront cost is money invested at the start, or it's the cost of making an investment. So the upfront cost of buying a car is lower than a truck because the car is cheaper to buy than the truck. That's the upfront cost. The cost of running the car is also cheaper, but that would be the operational cost. So you can say the operating cost is also cheaper. The operating cost would be the gasoline and the maintenance on the car, whereas upfront cost is just the purchase price. Whatever that is, could be $34,000. Whatever the purchase price is your upfront cost. Okay, now the cash outflow up front is higher for oil fields than gas fields. Well, that means that you have to spend more money to start an oil field than a gas field. The upfront get this thing out of there. The upfront investment is high. I think it's too risky for us. And I see a lot of people, they borrow they'll borrow like hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy like a bakery or a laundromat or something stupid, and then they can't pay the interest with the profit on the business, and they just have to go bankrupt. So people get excited and they think they can just spend any amount of money starting a business or buying a business, and they go totally broke. I mean, I see it a lot actually. The upfront cost of brick construction is higher than wood, but it lasts much longer. And that's something to consider, I suppose, when you're building. Although brick is kind of cold, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. People are obsessed with taking pictures of themselves. This culture of narcissism is nothing new. Ancient kings, or Egyptian kings rather, had murals painted on tombs to show their power and supposed beauty. Today, many people are so vain as to post internet pictures of themselves posing like models. Usually they have an unrealistic opinion of their beauty, putting themselves on a pedestal far above the average person without any truth behind their claims. Beauty is paramount for some people. And some people do think that beauty is the most important thing for them. The first word is narcissism. Narcissism is also known as vain. It means to be obsessed with oneself or to be self-satisfying. It basically is like this, like looking at yourself in the mirror every 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever because you think you're so beautiful. The swimwear model is so narcissistic that she asks people to pay money to sit with her. Yeah, so if she's saying, hey, pay money and you can sit next to me because I'm so beautiful, that would be ridiculous. Peter is the most vain man I know. What kind of man walks around with a mirror in his pocket, checking his face every 10 minutes? So, as a culture of narcissism, if everybody is all, ooh, I'm so beautiful. Putting on a pedestal means to behave as if someone or something is more important than others. So, for example, the boy's mother puts him on a high pedestal. If she's on a high, no, no. If he is put on a high pedestal, she thinks he is so good and so important. And that's a problem, I think. Some people, they think their kids are so good, but they're little devils, and they're so bad. Okay, she's sitting on a high pedestal. She better be careful or she might fall down. That's just an expression, because you're not actually sitting on anything. If she thinks that she's so beautiful or so important, and everybody is laughing at her, she might just feel like an idiot. In other words, she might look like a fool. This caption is Botox injection. Some people think they are so inadequate, so they have plastic surgery. They desire putting themselves on a pedestal to have a superiority complex. And that's a lot of people, well, more like a lot of women, want to have a superiority complex. They want to have a superiority complex because they find it intoxicating, which causes them to be miserable. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. They have an unrealistic opinion of their beauty, putting themselves on a pedestal far above the layperson. Layperson. Oh, that's great. Let's do our fluency practice. Our key words are preserve, layperson, technological advances or advancements, economies of scale, upfront cost, narcissism, vain, and finally, putting on a pedestal. To the layperson, economies of scale is a topic unknown. To the business person, the upfront cost of high-volume production machines is well worth the lower per-item cost in the end. Technological advances have improved economies of scale greatly. The companies often hire advertising firms that capitalize on people's narcissism to sell products. Pictures of vain fashion models are used to sell products, giving the illusion that it will put customers on a pedestal. So, we're saying that to regular people, cheaper per unit cost is something they do not know anything about. To the business person, spending lots of money on machines is a good idea because it makes everything cheaper in the end. Technological stuff has improved the cost of each unit a lot, made it cheaper. Companies hire advertising companies to make money because people want to be beautiful, like selling them products and stuff that they don't need. Pictures of arrogant fashion models are used to sell these ridiculous products, giving people this fake idea that people will be more important or more beautiful than others, and they can walk around arrogantly. Okay, question number 1. How can you preserve technological advances? Throw everything in the garbage, continually invest in research, or do lots of advertising on the internet? To preserve your technology, you would have to continually invest in research. Number 2, which is a burdensome upfront cost? Installing an electrical grid, building a bicycle, or hiring a new employee? Well, a burdensome upfront cost would be a high upfront cost, which would be installing an electrical grid. That would be very expensive. Number 3, economies of scale does what? It makes objects larger, it makes products cheaper, or it sells products overseas. Economies of scale makes products cheaper. And finally, if you're putting yourself on a pedestal, you are narcissistic, you don't like vain people, or you should take some yoga classes. The answer is A. You are narcissistic.